All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Share My Screen series on accessibility. I'm Katrina Boylan, Senior Research Writer and Program Manager at the Center for Injury Research, Translation, and Communication, or CERTC. Today is the last segment of this series, and today we're going to hear from Tracy and Mehan, the Director of Research, Translation, and Communication, and she is going to give us a look at accessibility for social media. Now, if you missed the first two segments in this series on accessibility, in which we covered PowerPoint and Canva, those two videos are available on our YouTube channel, which you can find at just CIRTC, CIRTC _ So go check those out if you didn't catch them previously. And of course, I will post this one to the channel as well and send out an email when it's up. So just to let you know, we are taking a break for the next quarter, but we will have new content available on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll be let know when new content is posted. Also, if you are registered for this webinar, you are signed up to receive our emails. So we'll also share any upcoming trainings or other types of opportunities that come up. If you are watching this later, though, and you're not signed up for our mailing list, you can go do that at cirtc.org. Okay, let's get into today's training. And once again, we have Tracy Mehan, our Director of Research, Translation, and Communication, and she's going to cover accessibility for social media. So whenever you're ready, Tracy, let's get going.
Okay, thank you, Katrina. Today we're going to do things just a little bit differently than how we normally do. Normally we jump right in and share a screen, but I wanted to kind of set the stage for what we're talking about. So we're going to have a little tiny bit of a presentation first. So let me share my slides. Okay, so when we're talking about social media accessibility, I wanted to kind of set the stage for what we mean by accessible. According to the dictionary, accessible means being capable of being reached, used, seen, understood, appreciated, or influenced. And it also means easily used or accessible by people with disabilities. So for this session, we're going to use the broad definition of the word that encompasses kind of all of those different definitions. So keep that in mind. One of the main things we're going to be talking about today, really, though, is alternative text. And that, or alt text, some people call it, it is the written description of an image that can help people with visual impairments. So, for instance, you see this image on the right here of a coffee cup. Imagine if you couldn't see that image. How would we make this accessible to you? And so you can add text in that is an image description. If you click, this is X. If you click on alt text here, this pops up and you can see a description, a small white mug with a tiny loop handle with a shot of deep brown espresso and light brown crema on top. Right. So it gives a description. If you can't see the image, this is what you would see if you could experience that. It does help people with visual impairments or who use screen readers for whatever reason, but it can also improve accessibility for everyone. If you don't have, if you're in an area that has low bandwidth or broken images, I know our institution blocks a lot of images, so we often don't get to see it. So this can help with that. And it can also boost your SEO or search engine optimization. So good for lots of different reasons. So just to kind of frame it, by adding this alt text, you are framing why you are including that image. And think about your image may not always be conveying what you think it does. So think about why you're including that image and what you want people to take away from it and include that in your alt text. If you want information on how to write alt text, we're not going to talk about that. We've done that already. You can also find that information on the CERTC accessibility page, or you can even ask ChatGPT to teach you, and it does a pretty decent job. So check out those resources. So why are we doing this? This is an example that I took from an email that I got. So I got an email and all this right here is all that I could see. All it was the title of the um, of the document that they were sharing. And since all the text was in the image, I have no idea what this email was trying to share with me, right? So, a couple things from here. File names matter. I have seen emails like this or social media images or things where it's just all you see is the title of the document. And sometimes people are not paying attention to what they're titling their document. So I'll just leave it at that. Um, this is what I saw. This is what it was supposed to look like. So when you have an image that you share where all of the text is in the image, if they can't see that image, they're going to miss all of it. So just being aware of that. So this is an example of maybe not ideal. This is an example of how you can do it better. So different email that I got, and they didn't put all the text in the image, and they've added alt text where it says "girl looking out window." So I knew what the image I would have seen if that popped up. So just some couple quick examples. For social media, we also often it will include video, not just static images. So for video, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. There's different phrases that people use, subtitles and captions. And this shows us the difference. Subtitles is the translation for viewers who don't understand the language that is being spoken. So you can see here, it's in a different language, right? Captions are real-time textual representations of what is being said, but also any other audio sound. So it assumes subtitles assume you can hear it, you just don't understand the language. Captions assume you can't hear it. So this is where it has other audio sounds that are happening. Like this one has grunts, but it can also be, applause or music playing, door slams, things like that. So if you're not able to hear it, you still understand all of the sounds that are happening. Um, some programs either have subtitles or closed captions as options that you as the viewer can turn on. There are programs that you can install on your computer and you can add them. Um, on social media, it is best to add captions to videos. So many of us have watched videos where the words come across as what is being said, right? And this is really important for all audiences. I know I rarely actually turn the audio on any videos that I'm watching at any time. So if it doesn't have captions, I'm missing the message. So being aware of that. Most of that happens in the design phase, not the posting phase. So if you want to learn more about that, you need to go to whatever platform you're using and learn how to add that in. I will give a little note of caution. Test it and see where they're showing up. I see too many videos where they include it, which is awesome, but then it's covering something that I need to see on the screen and I can't interact with the video as well. So make sure you're paying attention to where the captions are showing up so you're not covering important parts of your video. Okay. Um, at this point, I'm going to stop the presentation here and actually show you what it looks like to do some posting. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show is how do we get alt text? I already mentioned there's lots of resources you can use to learn how to do it, but I thought I'd show this example here of what it looks like to actually use ChatGPT for alt text. So you can actually pull in an image with ChatGPT. And then to make it easy for myself, I wrote some instructions here so I can just copy and paste to make this faster. But I'm asking it to please write alt text for me to include with this image when I post it on social media. And just that quickly, it will hopefully, yep, start to write some alt text. And what we have found is it actually does a pretty decent job. So this says, two scientists wearing white lab coats and protective goggles engage in a discussion in a laboratory. Scientist on the left holding a test tube listens attentively while the scientist on the right gestures as they explain, right? I will say context matters though. So this is kind of a generic description and it will work in many cases, but it depends on what I'm trying to communicate with the image, which I mentioned earlier. I very easily could have this, want to focus on the fact that there's a male researcher and a female researcher. It could be that I want to say a black male and a white female. It just depends on what you're trying to communicate with the message. So don't just assume it's right. Make sure you're really thinking about what you're trying to communicate. Now, because I am in injury prevention, I'm going to ask it to modify it a little bit and rewrite it, but have a little bit more focus on the safety angle. So if you don't like what it spits out, you can do that. And so this one has a little bit more information, again, sometimes better than others. Okay, so now you have alt text. How do you actually put that on your platform? And so I thought I would go through and show you how to do it on a bunch of different platforms because we know not everybody is using the same platform. So I'm going to start with X. If you go to X and you go on post, maybe. Okay, so you would write whatever your text is, and then you add your image, just drag that over, right? We already have our text that we have, and where you put that in is right here under add description. So if I click on add description, I'm just going to copy that text, alt text that ChatGPT gave me. And just like that, it's in there. If I hit save, now when you have the post, you can see right under there, that's what the alt text will be. And this little alt box popped up. Now I can just post that. Not going to do that for this, but that's what it looks like on X. Okay, Facebook. Facebook, similar. This one I'm going to show a slightly different image, just so you can see a different version. This is Facebook I only, this is my personal account. This is a picture of me when I voted. So you can upload that and then, oops, okay. Go to edit here is where you add the alt text. And then you drop down to alternative text, and that's where you add it in here. So for this one, when I asked ChatGPT to create an image, it was pretty generic. And because this is my personal account, I changed it to add my name. This is Tracy, me. Everybody that's following me on Facebook should know this, right? And then I have some more information there. You can ask it to create in text for you, or you can customize it. Okay, same thing. You save that, and then it actually will show up. You just can't see it there, right? You can. Okay, I'm going to do this. Show you what this looks like. Okay. If you want to go back and you've already posted something and you realize you didn't do alt text, you can actually go to your post, click on the image, and then go over to the three dots over here and change alt text. So that's how you can go in after the fact and add or change the alt text. Okay, so now we're going to go to LinkedIn. So for LinkedIn, start a post, same thing. Add the image in. I'm just dragging it over. And then click on, oops, of course it's going slow today. If you click on the image, then the alt text shows up down at the bottom here. So as you can see, it looks a little different for every platform, but in every platform, you can still add this alt text and it really does make a difference. Okay, and in some platforms, you can see that it's on there and other platforms you can't. All right, so that's what it looks like on LinkedIn. This is Instagram. So again, you open a new post, you create the post, drag the image over there. Now with this one, you need to go to go through next, go through a couple things. You're going to go through the filters. Now on here, you see accessibility. So here you will go to accessibility, and then you can type in your alt text here, and then you would share. Okay. Um, with Instagram, I did want to point this out. You can actually, if you also have threads, you can turn this on and it will share the post to threads automatically from here. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go to threads directly, go to there, same thing, pull an image in. Um, and then for this, you have to hit the Alt in the bottom left-hand corner. And you can add the image in that way. Um, because many people are starting to go to blue sky, I thought I'd show that really quickly as well. Oh, I should mention on Instagram too, you can't do reels from the desktop, but if you're on your phone after you upload your image and add a caption, you could go to advanced settings at the bottom of the screen and click on accessibility to get to the alt text. Since I can't share my phone, can't do that, but they are slightly different sometimes, whether you're doing it directly from your phone or on the desktop. Okay, so threads, new post, same thing, pull it over. And then it just automatically, um, oop, just kidding, you have to hit alt text there and then you put it in here, right? Okay. So you can post it there. So those are individual platforms. I wanted to just quickly show Buffer. So Buffer is a platform that you can use to manage your social media accounts. And you can post on multiple different platforms. You can do analysis, all kinds of different cool things with these. They do cost, so not everybody has access to these. But if you want to use one of these platforms, it's there's a lot of things that are great about them. Some will allow you to post alt text, some will not. Buffer will allow you to do it. Sprout Social, another platform we use, we can do alt text for some of the channels, but not all of the channels. So we can post alt text through this platform for the ones we can, and then we have to go to the native platforms for the other one. So for something like Buffer, you would create a new post, and then you can see for this, we have LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. So you have to select one. I'm going to pull the image over. And then click on this. Whoops, click on the box that comes up. Oh, just kidding. Customize for the networks. So here you can see it actually, you can have it just be for one platform and it shows you what it looks like, or you can actually select multiple platforms and you can see all of the different options. So here you can see now the alt text shows up. You click on that, pop it in there, and you can do that for each one. You can change what the text says for each one. You can schedule these to post all right away to all the platforms, or you can even write the text once and the alt text added in and post each of the different ones to go separately at separate times. So pretty cool feature. And then I just wanted to show sometimes another option can be to post the image description right in the caption. You can't do that on X because you don't have enough space, or you can, but sometimes it's a little harder. But this is an example where this organization, Upgrade Accessibility, has this image on Instagram, and you can see here it says image descriptions. There are 7 slides, and then it goes through what's on each slide. To make it accessible that way as well. So if you don't have access to alt text or you want to do it this way, this is another good way that you can do it. If you want to find out more about accessibility, you can go to our search the accessibility page, and there's all kinds of links on different resources, how to do alt text, glossary terms, things like that. So I see there are some things in the chat which I haven't been paying attention to. So
Yep. And
Katrina is,
yep, we'll get to those. So I guess thank you, Tracy, for that run through of kind of what accessibility looks like on those different social media platforms. And again, I just want to stress that this will look different depending on your content, the platform, all kinds of things. And so, we do build a lot of that into the way that we design things. And so again, go back and check out the Canva accessibility thing, learn the software that you're using to create content. That will go a long way in creating that accessibility. Okay, we got a
yeah.
cup. Oh, go ahead.
Let me add one more thing. Sorry.
Sure.
I did forget to mention at the beginning, I did make the assumption that what you were sharing, you designed with accessibility in mind. Katrina went over that in the last session, but a lot of accessibility comes in how you design it, not just how you share it. So we talked about sharing today, but design you want to think about that includes things like color contrast, font size, things like that. So definitely learn those as well.
Mhm. Yeah, and so this we're going to head to the chat now, and so I'm going to start with actually a comment because that actually kind of builds on what you were saying, and it was, assuming that people who are low vision are using some type of screen reader or some type of text to voice option, and so it was a question about do we assume that? And the answer is yes, but I guess I wanted to bring this up because I commented back that like actually as a sighted person, I actually read the alt text a lot myself, not only because I'm interested in what they're doing, because we do this for a living, but also because I actually learn sometimes from what the alt text is describing. And for me, the great example of this, if you're not familiar with NASA's accounts, NASA does a brilliant job of writing alt text for its images because they're incredibly complex and are dealing with things that most of us don't know what we're looking at. And so I just think NASA is a really great example of being descriptive and educational. And so that actually rolls into, I think, the first question we had, which was about the length and detail of alt text. So this person is seeing conflicting guidance that encourages brevity and simplicity versus providing longer, more in-depth and detailed descriptions. I know that the context of the image and target audience can play a role, but could you speak to the general best practices for how long and detailed alt text should be? So do you want to take that one?
Sure. So you don't want it to be too long because remember, if somebody's using a screen reader, it's going to read everything that you say. So best practice usually is 1 to 2 sentences, but if you have something that you need more, NASA's a great example, honestly. Sometimes theirs are a little bit longer, but they're giving you more context and things like that. So thinking about your user and what you want them to get from the image can have an impact in that. There are a lot of great resources on this. So, we could spend a whole session just on this. And maybe we will do that in the future. But yeah, I mean, thinking about your user, what you're trying to communicate, what the image needs to communicate, um, you know, all of those things can have an impact on that answer.
It also, I'll just say, matters whether or not the text is replicated somewhere else. So
Yes.
I put a note in the chat just about one place that I see alt text not show up a lot is we get a lot of conference announcements. And if all of the information is printed on that graphic and not shared elsewhere in the text, so either in the text of the email or the alt text, as Tracy showed, you're just missing all that information. But that is when I see a lot in our field is that the conference announcement is just a graphic and it's not printed elsewhere. So if your text shows up elsewhere, and like a conference announcement's a great example of this. So if the text of your post is, conference announcement, this is the date and time, that kind of thing, you don't need to put that into your alt text. We don't want to replicate what's already there. The idea is to create that complete experience that you would get if you were seeing what's in front of you. So again, sometimes it can be super short. Again, if it's a really decorative kind of image and isn't adding any information, there are also ways to mark images as decorative in different products. So check that out as well, because again, sometimes you just don't need that alt text either. So again, it does vary. It also, I've heard from people that do need this type of assistance, that it also kind of depends on your audience, what they're expecting, what they're looking for. So, again, there's no real hard and fast rules on this. It's more about knowing who your audience is, what they're expecting, and then how can you provide that complete experience to them? So, okay. Next one is there a way to add alt text in Meta Business Suite? So I actually just Googled that while you were looking, and the answer is no, apparently. Apparently it does not play nicely with Instagram and some of the other things. So unfortunately, it sounds like that might be a blind spot in Meta's tools. But this is where I encourage you, let them know. Nobody's going to change anything if you don't let them know that you want these tools. Canva actually really changed their accessibility checker, even within the last couple of months. And I actually went through the process of letting them know when I was using their accessibility checker before and saying, hey, I see a gap here. And sure enough, they've come back and really beefed it up. Now, this is where I would say, let them know that you're looking for this tool and you either can't find it, which tells them they've got a UX issue, a usability issue, or it's not there. And I would say, I just don't know. We don't use Meta Business tools for, that purpose. So here's where, again, do some searching. If you can't find it, let them know. So that's the only way things will change is if we make that wheel squeak. So,
Yeah, I'd
okay.
say if I am on a platform that I don't know, usually a quick Google or YouTube search will give you an answer to their. It's not always perfect, but they can be helpful.
Oh, actually, I did just see something here. It looks like maybe here. I'm going to drop something in the chat. Again, we don't use this resource, so I'm just looking, but this might be something helpful for you. It's something from Accessible Social about, oops, I don't think you can actually get that link. Hang on. Um, Hang on. Let me try that again.
It came in.
Oh, it did. Okay. Just that looks like it says alt text is a labeled option in your editing options. But again, it looks like it might be pretty buried, which is the case for a lot of these accessibility features, is that they're pretty buried. And this is why I will say thank you, Canva, for pulling yours out of no man's land and putting it right there in your file box. And again, PowerPoint's done a good job. A lot of the tools have come a long, long way with accessibility. But again, some of these kind of larger management platforms, just you might have to dig a little bit or go into the channel itself to actually finish the accessibility process. So, okay, I don't think I see any other questions, Tracy. So, okay. Well, I thank everybody for attending today. We'd love to have you for this series. We hope that you've learned something that you can go and take out of here and put into practice right away. Again, we are going to be taking a break, so do subscribe to our YouTube channel and our mailing list so you can stay connecting to us and figure out what we're up to in 2025. Again, thank you for attending. If there's any other questions or anything that come in later, please let us know at info@certc.org. But thank you so much and have a wonderful day, folks. Looking for more HealthCom content? Check out all of our trainings and resources at cirtc.org.